Well, throughout the church, today is known as Rally Sunday, and this is across the country, all the Protestant churches. And of course, it's that time when we come back and we start up our programs and we start up school, and so it seemed appropriate to talk a little bit about Paul's message to the church at Rome, and of course he starts out by saying, "Wake up and put on new clothes." And I think that there are a lot of people doing that in the past week, and we'll see more of that around this campus in the week to come. And for Paul, of course, that meant that he truly believed that his coming was imminent, and it was time to wake up and time to get ready for that. Put on new clothes, put on Christ. And I have to say, in the process of looking at this lesson, I have truly fallen in love with Paul all over. I'm one who, when I do Lectio Divina and sit with Scripture, I like to sit with Paul. There's so much humanity in it, and I identify with his imperfection, and I respect him so much because he holds up his imperfection. He recognizes that there's a part of him that is Saul. There's a part of him that is a man, Roman citizen, who persecuted the Christians, and then had an incredible transformation, and heard God's voice, heard Jesus speak to him, was so moved that he dedicated his life to serving Christ, of course, starting a number of churches and being the chief apologist for the Christian faith. And he lays out a framework that leads us on a journey from law to love to grace. And the great thing about Paul is he kind of works it out right in front of us, and our very eyes get a chance to see how he does this. And he proclaims that Jesus is the fulfillment of the law. His life, death, resurrection brings the law to fulfillment, shows us a model for how we live by the law. But at the same time, he doesn't throw out the law. He recognizes that we need the laws to guide our behavior, to guide our choices, to guide us in relationship with God, with our fellows, and with our community. He also knows that it is deeply, deeply true that to love another is to fulfill the law, and Christ gives us that example. He also knows that on our own we cannot do that, and so Paul starts to develop his theology of grace and starts to crack this open for us. Paul knew where his strength came from, and he also was well aware of his weakness. He's well aware of the thorn that dogged him his whole life. He's well aware that God's Spirit is poured out into earthen vessels. He's well aware that humans struggle in their behavior, and so he presents 6 kinds of behavior, and each pair kind of deals with a different area. The first pair, reveling and drunkenness, that speaks to our nature. It speaks to that presence of God in us that we can diminish. That we diminish by that kind of behavior. He speaks of debauchery and licentiousness, that kind of behavior that diminishes the image of God in another, the kind of behavior that may imprison or overpower another. And then he speaks about quarreling and jealousy. And quarreling and jealousy, of course, are the behaviors that might tear apart community, and how quarreling and jealousy and its impact on community and our behavior in a context, say, like this, how he holds it up at the same dynamic, the same concern as reveling in drunkenness and debauchery and licentiousness. They're equal for him. And Paul holds up a theology of imperfection. It would be probably a little hard to sell this, but it is a gift. It's so precious that St. Francis proclaimed it, St. Teresa, anyone here who may have ever touched upon or worked a 12-step program, you know that this theology of imperfection is woven throughout it. That the opposite, a theology of perfection, I'm okay, this is just so filled with arrogance, so filled with anything and everything that would separate us from the humility that we might want to carry ourselves and might want to present ourselves to God. Paul works out his theology of love, and as I said, he does it in front of our very eyes, and he does a big portion of this in the 13th chapter to his letter to the church at Corinth. You know it very well. He says, all other gifts are worthless without love. Love is patient and kind, not jealous, not arrogant, not rude. It does not seek its own interest, is not irritated, does not reckon things wrong, does not delight in wrongdoing, rejoices in truth, puts up with all things, believes all things, and never fails. Love lasts and is superior to all other things, all of which is summed up in verse 13 of this chapter. Faith, hope, and love remain, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Paul then concludes his reflection on love in Romans with urgency. Now that you have become believers, you can see that this is true. There is urgency, and we need to be about this work now and immediately. Let us live in the light and love in the light, putting away the behaviors that will cloud and deform this love: drunkenness, debauchery, licentiousness, quarreling, and jealousy. Let us instead do what Jesus does and love.